Hi Freaktoyz Army, so today is going to be a little bit of a different video. Usually we are showing you guys stuff we have in the store, but today we are going to be doing a history of PlayStation video. So if you're a Sony fan and love PlayStation, or even if you don't like PlayStation, continue watching. Maybe you'll find some cool facts that'll make you like PlayStation more, or even start to like PlayStation. PlayStation was released in Japan in 1994, and for the US and Europe it was released in 1995. It retailed for $299 US. Within a decade, PlayStation became the first gaming console in history to ship over 100 million units worldwide. The original PlayStation console came with two controllers. The original PlayStation controller was just this. There's no analog sticks like we have today. It was the D-pad and the buttons on the side here, and the start and the select. Each button on the controller actually have a reason for the shape that they are. The triangle represents your viewpoint. The square represents any menus or maps that you will encounter in the games. And X and O mean simply no and yes. I know a lot of people don't know that and just think that they picked random shapes, but they actually do have a meaning behind them, which is really awesome. Before the internet became popular, PlayStation created a PlayStation Link cable in 1995. In this cable, you could connect two PlayStation consoles via two TVs for select multiplayer titles. So instead of like how today where you can have two different consoles and you can stream and play multiplayer online, the PlayStation Link cable, you could just connect them together to be able to play the multiplayer titles. In 1999, Sony released the Pocket Station, and the Pocket Station is a memory card with a built-in LCD screen, and it had basic control buttons for mini games that you could play. In 2000, Sony released the PlayStation 1, or the PSONE. It retailed also for $299 US. There were two drastic changes about the PlayStation 1 and the original PlayStation. It is considerably smaller than the original PlayStation. Besides being considerably smaller, the home menu's graphical user interface used a variation of the interface only used on the PAL systems up to this point in time. Sony also released a LCD screen that you could hook up to the system itself. So it just hooked up on the back, and you have it plugged in, and you have a LCD screen attached to your console, so you don't actually need a TV. Along with the release of the PlayStation 1, they also released a new controller. The new controller had the addition of the two joysticks, which a lot of people love today. In the year 2000, Sony also released the PlayStation 2. It was retailed at $299 US. The PlayStation 2 had upgraded from the PlayStation 1. It now had high-definition 3D visuals, online play, and it also had a DVD player integrated into the system itself. By 2005, PS2 had become the fastest console to reach 100 million units shipped in just 5 years and 9 months following its launch. So not only did Sony become the first creator to sell 100 million units worldwide, it also broke the record for PS2 selling 100 million units in the fastest time. That's a lot of units, and Sony broke two records with two different systems. It's crazy. PS2 also became the best-selling home console of all time after selling over 155 million units worldwide and having nearly 11,000 games created and released. With the upgrade from the PS2 from the PS1, they also upgraded their controllers. The DualShock 2 controller had a greater degree of movement in its sticks, and it also had pressure-sensitive face buttons that detected how firmly you press them. In 2003, Sony also released the iToy. The iToy was a digital camera that connected to the PS2 via the system's USB ports. The iToy projected your image on the screen and tracked your movements. This helped form the foundation of many reality games for the future. In 2004, Sony released the SingStar mics. The mics usually came in a set of two, blue and red. These microphones went on to win a BAFTA award for its originality in 2005. In 2005, Sony also released the Buzz Buzzers. The Buzz Buzzers was for a game called Buzz, and it was a competition for 4 players to compete against each other to answer questions correctly. so kind of like a game show. It was really cool that your family could actually play a game show while being at home. In 2004, Sony released the PS2 subline. It retailed for $299 US. The subline, or as many people call it, the PS2 Slim, was smaller, thinner, quieter, and it also included a built-in Ethernet port. In some markets, it also had an integrated modem. In 2007, Sony started shipping an updated version of the Slim, which had an overhauled internal design, incorporating the power supply into the console itself, resulting in further reduced total weight. The PS2 Slim also had a opening and closing lid on top that you could insert the disc, instead of having the disc tray shoot out towards you. So if your system broke, it was a lot easier to get your disc back rather than the disc being lost in the system itself. In 2003, Sony released the PSX in Japan. It was retailed at 79,800 Japanese yen, or if you convert that to US dollars, it's $721.49. The PSX was fully integrated DVR and a PS2 video game console. It was the first Sony product to utilize the cross-media bar, or the XMB, and can be linked with a PSP to transfer videos and to transfer music via USB. The PSX features software for video, photo, and audio editing. The PSX supports online game compatibility using an internal broadband adapter. The PSX was the first product released by Sony under the PlayStation brand that did not include a controller with the device itself. Sony released the PlayStation Portable, or as a lot of people called them, the PSP systems. They retailed for $249 US. It was released in Japan in 2004, and for the US and Europe, it was released in 2005. The PSP was a pocket-sized handheld gaming system that could play games, movies, music, and it could browse the internet. Some PSP consoles you could hook up to your TV. In 2006, you could hook up your PSP system to your PS3 and play via remote play. You could also navigate your PlayStation 3 from your PSP. In 2006, Sony released the GoCam. The camera hooked up on the top of your PSP here, and it gave the PSP ability to take photos and record video with audio. This became the gateway to augmented reality games for the future. There were a total of 5 different PSP models during its 10-year lifespan. The PSP 1000, which was released in 2004. You had the PSP 2000, which was released in 2007. And they released a PSP 3000 in 2008. In 2009, they released the PSP Go, or the PSP N1000. And in 2011, they released the PSP Street 2011, or the PSP E1000. Sony released the PlayStation 3 for Japan and the US in 2006, and for Europe, it was released in 2007. It retailed for $499 US for the 20GB. And for the 60GB, it was $599 US. The PS3 had an integrated DVD and a Blu-ray disc player. The system also had an internal hard drive, rather than using just memory cards. With their launch in 2006, Sony released the 6-axis controller. The 6-axis controller was able to track 6 axes of movement in the joysticks. In 2007, Sony released the DualShock 3 controller. The DualShock 3 controller had added vibration feedback to its features. The DualShock 3 controller also won an Emmy Award the year it was launched for peripheral development and technological impact of video game controllers. In 2006, Sony launched the PlayStation Network in the PlayStation Store. With the PlayStation Network and Store, you could access games, music, movies, TVs, and online communication, and a whole bunch of more different features. In 2007, Sony released the PlayStation Eye. The PlayStation Eye was 4 times the resolution and twice the frame rate of the iToy. In 2008, Sony released the PlayStation Home for their consoles. PlayStation Home, you could explore and create a custom avatar, you could decorate personal digital apartment, you could interact with others, watch trailers, and take part in special events. In 2010, Sony released the PlayStation Plus. PlayStation Plus, you could get access to premium features like exclusive PlayStation Store discounts, and you could get a selection of downloadable games at no cost to you. The PlayStation Plus reached 22.9 million members by mid-2018. In 2010 as well, PlayStation Move Controller were released. The PlayStation Move Controller delivered enhanced motion control with precision. You could use them for guns, rackets, wands, or anything else that the compatible game required. In 2009, Sony released the PlayStation 3 Slim for $299 US. The redesigned model was 33% smaller, 36% lighter, and consumed 34 to 45% less power. The redesigned model also had a redesigned cooling system and a smaller cell processor. The redesigned model also featured support for CEC, which allowed control of the console over HDMI using the remote control as a controller. The redesigned model also had no more main power switch on the back. In 2012, they redesigned the PS3 Slim into the PS3 Super Slim. It also retailed for $299. This system had a completely redesigned case, which now had a sliding door covering the disk drive on the top of the system. It weighed almost 3 pounds less than the previous Slim model. In 2010, Sony released the Sony Bravia KDL-22PX300. It was retailed at $257.21. This was a 22-inch 720p television which incorporated a PlayStation 2 console along with 4 HDMI ports, Ethernet port, 3 USB, and VGA. It also included 1 PS2 controller. In 2011, Sony launched the PlayStation 3D display for $499.99. This was a 24-inch 1080p PlayStation branded 3D TV. It hooked up to your PS3 console. A feature of the 3D TV is SimulView. During multiplayer games, each player could only see their respective screen appear on the television through their respective 3D glasses instead of seeing a split screen. So player 1 will only see player 1's screen displayed through their 3D glasses, and player 2 will only see player 2's screen displayed through their glasses. So it was a whole new way of playing multiplayer without having to have your opponent screen peek. Sony released the PlayStation Vita in Japan in 2011, and for the US and Europe it was released in 2012. It retailed for $249.99. This was the most powerful handheld console on the market when it was released. It was the first handheld console to also have 2 full analog sticks, one on the left and one on the right. It also had a rear touchpad for additional control. As of 2018, nearly 2,000 games have been released worldwide for the PS Vita. Remote play with the PS4 made it possible for a large portion of the PS4's library to be played wirelessly on the PS Vita. There were also select titles available for remote play with the PS3. Sony released the PlayStation TV for Japan in 2013 and for North America, Europe, and Australasia in 2014. It retailed for about $100 US. It was known in Asia as the PlayStation Vita TV. It was a micro console and it was a non-portable variant of the PlayStation Vita. The console connected to a TV via HDMI, and users could play it using a DualShock 3 controller. It was compatible with over 100 Vita games and many PSP, PSN, and PC digital games. The PlayStation TV supported remote play compatibility with the PS4, allowing players to stream games from the PS4 to a separate TV connected to PS TV. It also allowed users to stream content from video services like Hulu, as well as access to the PlayStation Store. Sony released the PlayStation 4 for Europe and US in 2013, and for Japan in 2014. It retailed at $399.99. It had high dynamic range, or HDR, for vibrant visuals, integrated streaming, and social media features. It also had the most comfortable DualShock controller yet. The DualShock 4 controller was wireless. It had a refined shape, enhanced gyroscope, built-in speaker, ability to capture video screens. It had a light bar and a touchpad. The share button unlocked a whole bunch of different features. It had the ability to save, distribute, and share recorded gameplay video, capture gameplay screenshots, and live stream gameplay footage in real time. The touchpad is capable of sensing 2 fingers, providing another method of control for compatible games. The light bar will often reflect a gameplay element on your screen, such as helping generate mood, portraying a health bar status, or simply letting you know which on-screen player you represent. In 2013, PlayStation released the PlayStation Camera. It had high sensitivity cameras that were capable of video broadcasting, voice commands, and facial recognition, so you could log into your PlayStation 4 with the camera. In 2016, Sony released the PlayStation VR. It was originally known as Project Morpheus. The PlayStation VR was complete with 3D audio and built-in mic for online chat. In 2016, Sony released the updated PS4 as the PS4 Pro. It retailed for $399.99. It originally was announced under the codename Neo. The PS4 Pro had improved hardware, it had 4K and high dynamic range, which gave the games amazing vivid detail. The PlayStation 4 Pro had improved quality for the PlayStation VR as well. Unfortunately, the PS4 Pro did not support Ultra HD Blu-ray discs. But the PS4 Pro was the only PS4 model which can remote play at 1080p. The other models were only limited to 720p. Sony released the PlayStation Classic December 3rd, 2018. It was the 24th anniversary of the original PlayStation release. It was released for $99.99. It came with 2 replica original PlayStation controllers, so the ones without the analog sticks. The PlayStation Classic was 80% smaller than the original PlayStation system. The PlayStation Classic came preloaded with 20 games, and some games varied depending on which region they were sold in. The games that were common to all regions were Battle Arena Toshinden, Final Fantasy VII, Intelligent Cube, Jumping Flash, Metal Gear Solid, Mr. Driller, R4 Ridge Racer Type 4, Resident Evil Director's Cut, Revelations Persona, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, Tekken 3, and Wild Arms. The games that were exclusive to North America, PAL, Korea, and Southeast Asia were Cool Borders 2, Destruction Derby, Grand Theft Auto, Oddworld Abe's Odyssey, Rayman, Siphon Filter, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, and Twisted Metal. The games that were exclusive to Japan, Taiwan, and Hong Kong were Ark the Lad 2, Armored Core, G Darius, Gradius Gaiden, Parasite Eve, Saga Frontier, and Psy, or in English is Devil's Dice. Because this is a classic system, it does not interface with the PlayStation Network, and no more games will be added since they are preloaded onto the console themselves. The North American version received a mature rating from the ESRB due to the inclusion of Grand Theft Auto, Metal Gear Solid, and the director's cut of Resident Evil. The classic system is a great system to grab if you love some of the classics from the PlayStation but don't want to play anything other than those games. Although it has some great games loaded onto the system itself, a lot of people are a little angry that it didn't have a great classic like Crash Bandicoot. Sony is constantly coming out with new things, whether it be consoles, controllers, or accessories. There's always speculation on what the next new thing is gonna be, but you know, it's all just speculation. You don't really know until it's released. Our family here at Freaktoyz wants to know what your guys' favorite Sony PlayStation console or accessory is. Do you like the original PlayStation, or do you like the PS4 Pro? Do you like the DualShock 2 versus the DualShock 4? Let us know in the comments down below. Also, we want to know what you guys would like to see an information video like this about. Would you like to see it about Microsoft? Would you like to see it about some figure lines like Ghostbusters or Transformers? Let us know, and maybe we'll do a video on what you guys want to see next. I know this is a little bit of a long video, I apologize, but I hope you guys got some awesome information, learned something new, and maybe want to go tell your friends about it. Give this video a like and share it with your friends, and until next time, have a good one!